Playtest versus never played and I never will is a pretty funny distinction. Alright, let's see. Street Fighter. A classic fighting game. I think we have to put this in very good. It's been a major trend setter for 30 years, give or take. And I have played a lot of the old ones, and only a couple of the new ones, but it feels like the right balance of fun without being too gimmicky. A strong start. Now, Red Dead. I think I've only played the second game, but I think we have to put it in very good as well. I did not expect to like this game, but the storytelling and the pacing were both very strong, and it was surprisingly not filled with a million quests and junk objectives like many open world games. Now, Halo, I think, gets some legacy points. It's fallen off in recent times, but Halo was the first console game to use what we now consider to be the standard control scheme. Beforehand, there was GoldenEye, and GoldenEye used the stick to move forward and backwards, but instead of strafing, left and right on the control stick were turn, and then you used the Z buttons to strafe or to look up and down, and it's very difficult to play that after you've played any modern game. Now, Grand Theft Auto. This is going to be controversial, but I'm going to place this in mid. Grand Theft Auto is fun, but kind of overly bloated in my opinion. I don't have a lot to say about it, to be perfectly honest. It's decent, but I don't think... Well, okay, maybe we can put it in good. Now, Mass Effect. This boy gets to go in masterpiece. Our first masterpiece of the evening. Mass Effect is an incredible space opera role-playing game, and it is crammed full of atmosphere. And while it fumbled on some of its endings, it's still a bastion of a unique experience in the role-playing genre. Fantastic. Sims. I don't really have any thoughts about The Sims. I just don't really care at all. Now, Castlevania, I've only played one of Symphony of the Night, and it was okay. I think that Castlevania has more of a cultural influence than being truly incredible. So it's a little bit difficult to rate. But, oh, sorry about that. I think we can still put it in good. The question is, how many of these am I going to put in good? We'll see at the end of the day. Resident Evil. I think this is going to be my first mid. I recognize that some people adore this series, but from a gameplay perspective, I just can't really get behind it. Now, King of Fighters. I think I will also put mid. I think it's somewhat classic, but it's hard to put it in the truly good, in my opinion. Mortal Kombat, I think we'll also put at good. Although it has the same pedigree as Street Fighter, I've always felt that Street Fighter played much better, in my opinion, and Mortal Kombat really only edged it out in gore. Still a good series, though. Now, I have no idea what this is. Versus. I don't know that one. Battlefield. I think. Let's see, perhaps I can put Battlefield in good. I like Battlefield more than Call of Duty. I like the class-based multiplayer that Battlefield games have. I guess perhaps that's bad company, but I think it goes together. Now, Medal of Honor. Never played, and I just don't think that I care enough to bother going back to it. Minecraft. What a legacy this game has had on gaming. I remember back when it was just in alpha and either free or perhaps $5. It only had creative mode, and that's pretty much it. It was very bare bones. I think that I have to put it in Masterpiece just for its impact and scope, and being one of the first games to combine massive procedural world. Although I don't particularly like its creator. Forza. I haven't ever played, but I could. Short answer for Forza. Now, Call of Duty. Let's see here. I think I'm going to put Call of Duty in. Maybe, it's hard to put it in mid. Now, we're starting to get quite loaded up on good, so we'll have to see how I feel about these as time goes on. There's a lot of options in here. Interesting. Okay, Doom. I think I have to elevate Doom to very good. Doom was a pioneer in the first-person shooter genre, and for many years, games that were first-person shooters were called Doom clones, in the same way that we call things a Souls-like or a clone of something else. And then in the 2016 version, Doom truly revitalized itself with a complete rework and a fantastic implementation. Guilty Gear. I think I also have to put in very good. It's just an incredibly solid fighting series, and it looks fantastic. Perhaps it's because I'm an anime boy, but Guilty Gear scratches all of the right itches for me. Persona is hard for me to rate because I've only played the two most recent entries, but I loved them very much, so I think I'll have to put it in very good. Pardon me, I had to clear my throat. Now, is this Shin Megami Tensei? I think it probably, yeah. Never played it, but it's on my list. After Persona, I really feel that I should check it out, but I haven't. Wolfenstein. Never played, and again, I don't have a dislike of it. I just don't have enough time to play every game series out there. Devil May Cry is a classic action fighting. I don't know exactly what you call the genre that it belongs into, but it's a blast and has maintained its place as a consistent good entry in its own subgenre. Bayonetta, I think, is going to fall to mid. I like that Bayonetta is unapologetic with how ridiculous it is, but I think that it doesn't quite have this as solid of fundamentals as Devil May Cry does. So, alas, we'll call it mid, but mid is not bad. Pardon me. Now, the Lego series took me by surprise in its quality. I've played a couple of these, but I think that in the grand scheme of things, I still can't rate them above average or mid, but that's alright. Elder Scrolls, now this is going to be controversial. The rain quiets down just for it. Bad. Come at me, bro. I do know that in many ways they were classic games, but they have always been so full of jank and filler that I just can't put them in the decent tier. They get by on legacy alone. And I hate to say it, but the same is true for Fallout. Behold my trash taste. That's the Geiger counter talking about how toxic that opinion might be considered. But nevertheless, something has to go there. Now, Super Mario. I think we have to put this in the masterpiece tier as a complete pioneer of the platforming genre and consistently. Listen, I'm a raccoon at heart, so believe me, I agree, Fang. How are you doing this evening? I hope your Monday is treating you well. Yes. Feel free to chip in any opinions about the entries I'm talking about as well. But Super Mario has continued to bring out innovative platformers in the 3D and 2D spaces, and has continued on even subpar hardware to look gorgeous and remain creatively engaging. Now, oh, blood sugar screwiness, huh? Are you diabetic as well? I'm diabetic, in case you didn't know. Or do you just have hypo or hypertension? I see. Oh, type 1. Samesies. Same here, my man. Yes, I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 7, I believe. I've kind of lost track. Yes, heart to you as well. I lost some sleep last night because my blood sugar was teetering on the edge of low at around 2 a.m. So I got up to eat, and then it woke me up so I couldn't fall back asleep for a couple of hours. Now, on to Zelda, I think. Yes, that's true for sure. And continuous glucose sensors have been a godsend for me. Now, Zelda, Zelda, Zelda. I think we'll go with very good. It's been a hit or miss series, and personally, despite public opinion, the last 2 Zeldas have been misses for me, but I would rather a series innovate and misstep than not innovate at all. Metroid is a co-founder of its own subgenre with Castlevania, and ironically, I like a lot of Metroidvanias, but Metroid and Castlevania on their own feel often dated or perhaps rough around the edges, so I think they cap out at good for me. Dark Souls, I think everyone knows that goes in masterpiece, and thank you, Fang, for the posture check. Oh, good, yes, ASMR is prime shrimping posture. Dark Souls is another series that I did not expect to like, but the world design and enemy design and dark dour mood are truly one of a kind in gaming and have created their own subgenre as well at this point that I love. I think Final Fantasy also deserves the masterpiece slot. Again, no series is ever perfect, but I think that Final Fantasy has withstood the test of time as a series that both pays homage to its roots and also continues to innovate. And some of my favorite games of all time all come from Final Fantasy. When the rain loops, it's very strange, that brief moment of silence. Dragon Quest, I think, goes in on my list one of these days. Probably just using a Fire Link sword in Sword, Blade, and Sorcery. Spent more time being a Dark Souls boss than fighting a Dark Souls boss. Yes, I like that. I also think it's very funny that in Overwatch 2 there's a direct Dark Souls reference in Eichenwalde. Alright, Quake is perhaps going in mid. Perhaps controversial, but it's hard to ignore that time marches onward. So while Quake used to be a pioneer, it died out and never evolved. So it's hard to put it at the top of the list these days. Counter-Strike. I know it's very popular, but we're gonna put it in mid also. Maybe that's a little controversial, but oh hello. My kitty has just joined us up on the desk. Hopefully he doesn't bang into anything loudly, because he's a little bit clumsy and chunky. Team Fortress, I think, goes in good. Again, a pioneer in class-based shooters, and Team Fortress 2 was an incredible game for a long time, but I feel that other games have evolved more and in better directions, so it's mostly banking on legacy. Similarly, Half-Life is a legacy game. Now I'm just checking quickly to see if that Versus is supposed to be Super Smash Brothers, because I think maybe it is. And if so, since I'm not seeing it down here, we're going to put it up here in Masterpiece. I wasn't positive though, it's kind of a weird thing to use for the logo. Hi buddy. Yes, you're okay. Kitty's gonna get moved here. Come on. Thump thump. Alright, Portal is a masterpiece. Incredible puzzles, incredible environment. Vam Bupper, what about Vam Bupper? Sonic, I think, is relegated to mid. Again, an OG game, but kind of fell to the wayside. Yakuza, never played, but I do own. Like a Dragon. Oh, just kidding. There's Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers gets the masterpiece. Hearts of Iron. Never played. Don't know what it is. Europa Universalis. Never played, and I believe it's a 4X game. So, ain't nobody got time for that if they've never played one. Never heard of Victoria as a game series. Crusader Kings, I believe, goes in the same spot as Europa Universalis, a 4X game that I don't particularly plan to play. Company of Heroes. Honestly, I don't remember much of it, so that kind of says everything, doesn't it? Now, Pokemon is good. I have an emotional attachment to Pokemon, but I can't deny that the series has been vastly underutilized for almost 30 years, and so I can't in good conscience rate it above good. But that's okay, we can love things that aren't good or amazing. Ace Attorney. Never played, but I probably should. Mega Man, I'm going to put in good as well. Mega Man X is one of my favorite games. X1 through X5. However, too many Mega Man games are simply ball-bustingly frustrating. And so, it averages out to good. Metal Slug. I believe I've played, but don't remember much of it. And Contra. I've played, but I don't actually think it's a good game. It's just a classic game, which is not the same thing. Toho Games, I oddly know secondhand through Salty Bet, which, in case anybody doesn't know what Salty Bet is, Salty Bet uses a fighting game engine and pits computer-controlled fighters against each other, and people bet fake internet dollars on the winners, but all of the characters are user created and made, and so you get things like Ronald McDonald versus Civilization. I played Civilization 1 and more recently Civilization 5. And I like it. It's fun. It's cultivating. Nick Cage versus Rusty Cage. Yeah, that sure sounds like Salty Bet to me. I love it dearly. Now, let's see. I think I'm going to have to put The Last of Us in Masterpiece. I think that very few games have ever made me feel the same things that The Last of Us made me feel. Good and bad. Making me think of clickers. I can't be too loud with that though, but truly a horrifying take on zombies, rooted in a very interesting natural phenomenon. So, I'm a big fan, and despite a few misgivings I have, probably true, despite a few misgivings I may have about part 2, I think that it takes massive cojones to have a game so starkly depressing where the player actively hates what their character is doing, and yet for that story to feel genuine and believable for the character doing it. Truly phenomenal. Similarly, Uncharted, I think, took what Tomb Raider started all the way back in the 90s and elevated cinematic storytelling in an adventure game to a fantastic level. And yes, of course, it is influenced by Tomb Raider and by Indiana Jones, but those games are truly incredible pieces of media and hold up quite well. Crash Bandicoot. I think I'm actually going to rate this as bad. He's a classic character, but those games are infuriating and a peak example of Nintendo hard, even though I know it's not a Nintendo property, but God, it just feels like bullshit. SimCity. I don't have much to say about it. Perfect. Well, you've only played 2 Crash games where you control mutants. And the Game Boy crossover with Spyro. Yeah, I think as a character, he's fun. But the actual games, I don't actually like at all. For SimCity, it's just not really my type of game, I think, but it's adequately built. Not much to say about that. Now, I think we may be getting our first trash tier. Come at me, soccer fans. I'm a soccer fan myself, but that game is fucking trash. Attempting to fuck you out of every penny you have, and it doesn't even have cute anime waifus. It's a travesty of a gameplay monetization and the yearly churn of the same fucking game every year. And it's trash. Sorry, but not sorry. Age of Empires. Classic. Good at the time, but just fine. It's just fine. International Superstar Soccer. I have no idea what the fuck that is. I can't read that one. Need for Speed. It's fine. It's fun, but kind of empty fun, in my opinion. Batman. If I'm being honest, it perhaps a surprise, but I think that for the most part, it banks entirely on its character name. And other games have done what it does at least as well, if not better, most of the time. But because it's Batman, everyone loves it. Whereas for me, I just don't care. Never played Injustice, but I also don't care. We're gonna get a couple of these quickly in the never played and don't care about it genre. Now, Gran Turismo. I would personally rate it as bad in that I don't really like the more realistic car driving simulators, and it's more on that edge than the others, but at the same time, it's very high quality, and I know many people do like it, so it kind of averages out. It's a high quality game that I don't necessarily enjoy, so it's mid. Now, this is going to be a little controversial, but I think that as games, all three of these games suck. They're very artistic, and at the time they came out, they were perhaps considered unique, but I don't actually think that any of them are good games. They bank entirely on atmosphere, but that's not enough to get a good rating from me. Again, perhaps controversial. BioShock. BioShock is fine. It's fine. Perhaps it's because I came late to the game. It's certainly, maybe I'll put it in good. We'll guess the people that like it do love it. Metro. Never played. Nothing to say about that. Spyro, I think, also goes in mid. It's an old, abandoned series that was pretty fun, but has not necessarily aged particularly well, and kind of just died out. It's fine, but if you played it back then, I'm sure that your memories of it would be quite positive. Guitar Hero. This one's kind of difficult. I would say good. Again, sort of a pioneer in the rhythm game genre for having a full guitar peripheral, and I have many good memories of it. And the gameplay, I'm sure, has aged just fine. But I think it's hard to rate it higher than good. Warcraft. Perhaps controversial, but it's honestly kind of just basic fantasy that has critical, cultural mass behind it, and so it will never die. But that does not actually make it good. Many things are popular that are not incredible. It's fine. It won the war back then, but it's just fine. Titanfall gets a good. A game that has a very unique gimmick of balancing both on-foot FPS, travel, and fighting with giant robots fighting in the same maps, and it's just plain very good. I say that and I put it in just good, but I think that legacy is important for what I'm calling very good and masterpiece, so actually, you know what, fuck it. It's very good. It's just very good. It's very good. The single player, especially for Titanfall 2, was quite fun, and the multiplayer was awesome. And it's tragic that it died out because it came out at the same time as another very popular game, although I forget which one at the time. Possibly Overwatch. Not sure. Unreal Tournament. Ooh. I think it lives in the same land as Quake. Lots of good memories in the past, but it's an old game that did not stay up with the times and has aged fairly poorly. But it's fine. Good 30 years ago. Mid now. Gears of War. I'm gonna say the same thing. Maybe that's because I haven't played the most recent one or two, but it's fine. The first one felt like a graphical revolution, but I just have a hard time caring about it at all. Let's see here. Metal Gear. Gear Solid. Perhaps a shock that I've never played it, but I really do intend to someday. Dark Stalkers. Mid simply because of it being outdated, but it has some cute waifus, and if it kept up to date, I would put it up higher, near Guilty Gear. We'll call it good. We'll say good. But an old game that has not truly kept up as far as I'm aware. StarCraft. I think that StarCraft is better than Warcraft, but unfortunately the company behind them screwed the pooch, and thus it's a dead franchise, but there's an entire esports scene still around the first game, so it did something right. Rainbow Six is fine. I don't have much to say about this one. We'll call that good. We'll bump it up a little bit. Now, I believe that advertisements are coming soon, so I'll have to make sure and pay attention to that and take a good stretch break. Assassin's Creed is mid. It had some good games, but a lot of bad ones. And it's kind of lost its way. It's practically a different series altogether than it used to be. So it's kind of middle of the road. And there's our ads. I'm sorry, I will be right back and take a quick break. I'm back, and we're going to get a little bit of new drink. Pouring and opening sounds. Thank you for joining. Ah, shoot. Let's see, I've got to make sure that. Let me fix this. I think that my alert did not show up. But thank you for becoming a kilobyte sucking Tom Cruise's toes. That name is incredible, and it cracks me up. Welcome to the database. I hope you enjoy your stay here. And I'm going to continue with my ratings. That name is incredible, my friend. I hope you're having a relaxing Monday evening. I'm drinking a dragon fruit hard cider. Alright, now watch all the throat gurgles. Watch Dogs is mid at best. It's just fine, but suffers badly from the Ubisoft open world design that is full of a million collectibles and bullshit side quests, and so it's difficult to rate well. Now Dishonored goes in very good. Yes, I think very good feels right for it. It's close to masterpiece, but I think that's some of the ways that it does story and consequences for your choices does not feel good. Oh no, AJ needs help in Elden Ring. Oh no, welcome in, AJ. Well, let's take a moment and see if we go Twitch.tv and pull up. Oh fuck, why would it play sound automatically, you sons of bitches? Werewolf AJ, yes. She's live right now. Streamception. You've gone to the Erd Tree Sanctuary, I see. Now you're muted, so you'll have to put it in chat. But do I take it that you have beaten the boss up ahead of you here, AJ? I think everybody here knows AJ. Well, go to the Earth Tree Sanctuary then, lady. I think I can already see it, whatever we did last time. Okay. wanted to play Zelda. Okay, now. Okay, now open your map again. And go, let's see, to that next waypoint. To the top, yes, the Queen's Bedchamber, that's right. ASMR Elden Ring advice. Who dis? Incredible. Now go straight up the stairs there. Straight ahead, yes. And see if there's a boss fight there. But I think you beat him. Oh, there's your answer. Good luck, AJ. Alright, back to the tier list. No problem. Bravely Default. Difficult to rate for me because I really liked it for a while, but it wore out its welcome for me, so I think it's going to end back up in mid, which is tragic because I think that the advanced 2D sprites are very interesting, but it was kind of a miss for me. Left 4 Dead, also kind of mid. It was fun, but not incredible. Now, Kingdom Hearts is a series that I used to love as a youngin', as a youth vampire, but it's become such a convoluted mess that I think it's trash, unfortunately, despite it having an interesting base premise. They have squandered it, unfortunately. Alas, now, I think you're going to find a common thread in my ratings. I think that most sports games are trash. Not necessarily that they are bad as individual games, but as a franchise, they're all kind of trash. And I think it's worth noting that I'm not necessarily considering trash to be below horrible. It's more like a side category. Now, I have no idea what this is, but I do like its logo. Arma, I think, is bad. Not only is it a frustrating first-person shooter, but it's also literal U.S. Army So, there we go. That is what it is. Ghosts and Goblins is bad. Nintendo hard and not particularly interesting. It's just kind of bad. Never played this one. Now Banjo-Kazooie is mid. At the time it came out, it was very interesting, but in the grand scheme of all of history's video games, it could be better, if I'm being perfectly honest with all of you. Donkey Kong, on the other hand, is good. It has an enduring appeal. It hasn't evolved in the way that Mario has, but Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Country 2 hold up incredibly well. KOTOR, shockingly, never played, but I do plan to play it in the future. Never played Mount and Blade and don't particularly care. Same with Total War and Ace Combat and Animal Crossing and Battlefront, although I think I'm just going to call Battlefront mid. One game that everyone used to love, and then another game that everyone hated as an emblem of corporate greed, left it kind of mid. Fire Emblem. I want to love you, Fire Emblem, because I love strategy, tactical RPGs, but I just don't like your combat and itemization systems, and I found the more recent entries to be a little tedious as well, so mid is the best you're going to get from me, despite having classic cultural impact. God of War is up to masterpiece solely because of the last two games in the franchise. The first three God of War games were simply good. One of them was probably just mid, but the reimagining of the entire combat system and narrative style that came out with God of War, what was it, 2018, and God of War Ragnarok truly elevated the series to an incredibly fascinating place to completely change its subgenre of action and to infuse an emotionally engaging story rooted in mythology with a unique spin is nothing short of astonishing. And I truly do love the most recent games. So it's elevated itself beyond its roots. Now why? Why are the two DBZ fighting games in here twice? It's really just one series. diabetes, and it's fine. In my opinion, it banks entirely on love of external media and your attachment to it as a shonen jump manga and anime. And as a fighting game, it's just fine. Mid, if you will. You'll be going to bed shortly. Well, thank you, Fang, for joining me this evening. And I really appreciate you hanging out and chatting. And we'll have to talk about diabetes sometime in the future. Perhaps. So I hope you have a very restful night. Gotta full screen this to make it look good. Naruto Ultimate Ninja sits in the same place as Budokai in that, as a fighting game, it's fine, and that's about it. If it weren't branded with Naruto, I don't think it would be popular at all. Okay, and fuck you. Yeah, the same goddamn game. I'm just rating you as separately there. Never played Klonoa. I've never heard of it. I have no idea what that is. Good night, Fang. How many more of these do I have? Jesus Christ, there's so many. Alright. I don't know why I chose such a long list. Actually, I do. It's because the first two that I chose were fucked up, and so I picked one I knew I could say a lot about. But that's fine. Fatal Fury, never played. Final Fight, never played. Streets of Rage is bad. Don't love it. BlazBlue is good. Perhaps even very good. We'll put it in the same tier as Guilty Gear. An incredible work of art and an incredible fighting game. Burnout. Good. Fun racing game. We could use more and more evolution, but it's just a good game. That's it. Nothing extra special to say about it. Virtua Fighter is bad. At the time it came out, it was interesting, but in hindsight and in retrospect, and compared to modern titles, it's meh. Now let's see, I think, personally, I would rate Tekken near Street Fighter. Yeah, I think it's more my style than the Mortal Kombats. Star Fox is a game that as a child I loved and thought was so cool, but realistically it's just fine. There's really nothing special about it. And so it gets a mid rating. Kind of same with F-Zero. Again, maybe if there were modern takes on it that were any good, it could go up, but it's more a flash pan of the N64 and Super Nintendo era, I believe, more than anything else. Silent Hill. I've never played, and I don't particularly care about. Same with Dino Crisis. Oh, Duke Nukem, our first horrible game. It was popular back when it came out, and gaming was a more shallow, perhaps socially awkward, male-driven space than it is now, but it's crude and crass and not particularly in a witty or fun way, and it's just not a good game at all. It's peak. I'm 14 and this is edgy shit kind of game, but not even in like a good way. It's so far my only horrible answer. Postal, never played, don't care. Shantae is a series I had never heard of until sometime during COVID, but it's right up my alley in terms of fun, side-scrolling platformer games, and the way that it incorporates the genie powers is quite fun, and it's just cute. It's just a good game. Ah, shit, sorry about the noise, my bad. It's just a good game series, that's all there is to say about it. Hexen, don't care. Pac-Man is kind of so classic that I have to put it in good. It's simple, but enduringly cute and fun. Not complicated. Now Tetris. Despite what my V-sister Kiri is going to tell you, despite the fact that I suck at Tetris according to her, I still think this game is very good and an enduring masterpiece to have survived over 30 years of gaming and still be considered an eminently fun game. It is simple, but effective and to the point. A masterpiece. I don't know what this is. Bomberman is fine. It's a classic. And the top-down games are fine, but nothing super special. And the 3D games from the N64 and GameCube era are buggy and messy and just fine. And that's alright. Excitebike is just not a very good game. There's not much to say about it. Splinter Cell, never played. Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, never played. Ghost Recon, never played. Wasteland, never played. Now this one I recognize, but I can't quite place its logo. And since you motherfuckers didn't include text, I have no idea. I can't remember. That's alright. Anyway, Perfect Dark I did play, and it's mid. I wish it were better, but it's not. Never played a One Piece game. Never played that. Jack and Daxter. Never played. So calm, I'm just going to say actively bad. Honestly horrible. Kind of for the same reason as bad. Same reason as Arma. I don't really like. Actually, let's just put all three of these in horrible. I don't like US military propaganda video games. It's kind of fucked up. Jet Set Radio. It's good. Classic. Weird. Out there. Probably hasn't aged well, but that's okay. Splatoon is fine. Its controls suck ass, in my opinion, because the Switch controls suck for some weird reason. But it's fine. It's fine. I like the concept. Now Fear was good, at least the first one. It was surprisingly atmospheric and did an incredible job of controlling your vision and senses and shocking you while also making you feel extremely powerful. It's a very interesting game. I wish there were more of them. Crysis is only known because of its meme value for destroying graphics cards. As an actual game, it's just fine. Grand Blue, never played. Art is kind of generic, but not bad. Dungeon Fighter, no idea. Brothers in Arms, no idea. Neo is Dark Souls combat slash Sekiro combat, but with all of the annoying itemization that goes into a looter shooter or an ARPG, and so it just pisses me off more than seems engaging and exciting. So it's mid. Amnesia, never played. Monster Rancher, I played one a long time ago, and I think I just have fond memories of it. I don't think it's actually good. Top Gear. I can't remember if I've played one. Horizon Chase, I've never heard of. Dead Space is decent. I enjoyed it. I had other issues with it, but overall, it's a pretty nice, atmospheric, sci-fi horror game. Rock Band was quite good. I'm gonna say good. Where did I put Guitar Hero? Okay. Although I would say that it's better than Guitar Hero. You know what? No. It can go in very good. The addition of the drums and being able to play it 4 players was quite a good combination. It improved on Guitar Hero in essentially every way possible. Parappa the Rapper. I know of it, but I never played it. Blood. Never played. The Witcher. Ooh. Here's my controversial take on The Witcher. The writing in The Witcher 3 may have been excellent, but the actual gameplay was dog shit bad. And so I actually could not stand playing The Witcher 3. But The Witcher 2, surprisingly, was pretty good. I know this will rile up a lot of gamers, TM, but holy fuck, I don't have 100 or more hours to slog through a game that's just not fun to play, just because it has a good story, in air quotes. Why the fuck is Bloons Tower Defense of all things here? I've never even heard of it. Okay. Luna, welcome in. How are you doing this evening? I hope that your work is going well. I saw your new Kick banner, and it's a little spicy. It's going well. I'm having fun, but holy shit. There's so many games on this tier list. Spicy Chimkin Hours. Yes, that's right, Luna. Anybody watching this VOD should go follow Luna Valkyria on Kick. I know, right? Feel free to judge my trash taste. Oh, that chair crack. Do you have any particular triggers you want while you're hanging out, Luna? Oh, why is that? Is that because I rated something that you didn't like? I suppose it's better than spilling your drink. Hello, Mint. Welcome in tonight as well. I've been rating games for an hour and a half. Yes, Tetris is a masterpiece of a game. Yes, good morning, Mint. That gulp. Gulp. I think the more controversial is what I put in bad and mid. Tetris this is a good game. I have perhaps a little bit of controversial in a couple of these. Maybe not. Who could say? Nope. Well, fair enough. So it goes. Let's move on to Dragon Age. Now, I've only played the first one, and it's another one where I know that people love the story, but I also feel like the gameplay is just bad. And so it's hard for me to rate it highly. I'm already. Listen. So that's the thing, Mint. As a series, there have been a couple that were quite good, but I feel that Assassin's Creed has kind of lost its way and is almost two completely different sets of games at this point. So it's kind of all over the place. Baldur's Gate is also kind of mid for the same reason that Dragon Age belongs there. However, I'm pretty excited for Baldur's Gate 3. Worms is good. Simple, fun, multiplayer party game that doesn't need to be anything more than wacky and fun. It's good. Simple rating. Easy clap. Now, Super Monkey Ball is not actually a very good game, but it's a classic. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not actually great. But one of my good friends got selected set many years ago to be in the Omega-thon at PAX. And so he and I trained him up on a bunch of old classic games, including Super Monkey Ball and Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And I spent that entire PAX as his plus one, and we got to get in early with all of the press people, and he ended up winning the Omega-thon that year and got I believe, $5,000 prize. So it was very interesting. Is what to Luna Monkey Ball. This is entire series as a whole, and I am mostly rating it in terms of a combination of how innovative it was at the time, how much it's been able to continue to evolve, and how good it is games have simply come out since then. Shenmue. I have many childhood memories of Shenmue, but the voice acting was not very good, and it kind of was a game with very little story and a lot of fluff. Would you like to play a game of Lucky Hit? Do you know anyone who speaks the language of Chinese? I still remember those lines 20 or 30 odd years later, probably 25 years. Now, Atelier, I have never played, but it's always kind of been on my list. And Mint and Luna, you can see this is exposing me a little bit that I've never actually played KOTOR or Metal Gear or Dragon Quest, which are pretty big names, but I do have Like a Dragon, so I will play it one of these days. I don't know anything about these. Prey is a game I might play, but has sort of a weird identity crisis because Prey came out around 2008 and was a sort of sci-fi action game where you played as a Native American character with aliens and crazy shit. And then they rebooted it and called it the exact same name, but it had no relation to the original in the mid-2010s and was more like a Dishonored style game, but again shared the same name for some strange reason and caused a lot of confusion. It's true, Animal Crossing could be good ASMR, but one, I don't want to play more games that require daily logins, and two, I don't really have the interior decorator mentality to care, so I don't really think I would enjoy it. Never played a Digimon game, although I did watch the anime. I have no idea what Flat Out is. Day of Defeat was a classic source mod. Yeah, I bet they were, but I probably just won't ever get around to it. Day of Defeat was a really fun source mod, FPS, class-based, and it kind of died in obscurity, but it was pretty good for the time. But mid in the grand scheme now. Ooh, Disgaea. That's difficult for me to rate because I liked Disgaea 1, but the emphasis on infinite grind has really put me off of the entire series, and it kills me a little bit because I love tactical role-playing games like Final Fantasy Tactics and Disgaea and Fire Emblem, but the actual implementation there's still so many. Tales of, I'm going to call mid also. They are very cheesy anime style stories, and I feel like they're kind of shallow, but they're not bad, just kind of repetitive. They're fine. Horizon Zero Dawn. Good. Visually beautiful. Main character's personality is not super engaging, but the world is interesting and the aesthetic is fascinating, and the lore reason why there's all these dino robots is pretty cool, but that's kind of a spoiler if you haven't finished the first one. And the second one was pretty good, but also went a bit awry. Valkyria Chronicles. Kind of mid, unfortunately. The strange mash of semi-real-time, turn-based RPG in a World War I style world with supernatural, mega-powered, godlike beings is fascinating, but the actual gameplay, story / the way that the missions are designed and graded was unfortunately somewhat off-putting. So it had a lot of potential, but ended up kind of middle of the road for me. Okay, this is the third TBC series. Just group them together, you sons of bitches. Oh, there's the fourth one. Okay, come on, guys. They're the same. Dead Rising was bad, unfortunately. Cool idea, but not actually a particularly good game. Binding of Isaac is a game I have not played, but intend to one of these days. Prince of Persia. That's tough. I think I'll call it good because overall it holds up okay, and thematically and visually it's pretty cool, and it was pretty innovative at the time. Somewhere in good to mid. Yes, Prince of Persia 2 was very good. Yes, you're goddamn right, Luna Valkyria. Prince of Persia 2 is a goat. Yes. Correct. A correct and right take. Yes. Yes. Never played any of these games. Now, Nier, I've also not played, but it is on my list because everybody raves about it so much, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So we'll see one of these days. Maybe, eventually. Tomb Raider, I'm going to call good. Somewhat of a pioneer in action-adventure space, back when everything was ugly, polygons, much like the era of Final Fantasy VII's original release. As time moved on, its 3D entries were, for a while, uninspired, but its newer entries are quite good and learned a lot from Uncharted, which of course in turn had learned from Tomb Raider, so I quite enjoyed them. Quite good. Quite good. Now, friends and watchers, I believe ads are upon us very shortly, so please feel free to pause. Oh, there they go. Those of you who are subbed can hear me rail against the advertisements. Unfortunately, several of you are going to be stuck for several minutes, and it's a goddamn tragedy. Kill them. Yes, nuke them from orbit. I'm sorry, Luna, if you have ads right now. Tragic. You have no ads. Oh, well, that's good. Not yet, anyway. I think they're coming, though. Ooh, now Diablo, I think, has to go in good. Diablo 2 was peak, but Diablo 1, 3, and 4 are just fine. As much as I'm enjoying turning my brain off for Diablo 4, I very much am tired of the infinite grind style games, so I think I can't rate it above good. State of Decay, I actually know several of the developers of that game, but I haven't played it. Now, Fable is good, but not incredible. For its time, Fable was pretty interesting, and then it kind of fell off and lost its way. But it's still a fairly beloved franchise, and still has some things to give. And the new preview was at least funny, which is a good sign. Chivalry is not actually a good game, but it is a funny one, so it gets mid. It's a janky first-person combat game where you use medieval weapons, and it's silly and dumb and fun, but not incredible. Samurai Showdown haven't played. Dynasty Warriors I just don't like, which is interesting because I actually think that the Persona 5 spin-off that combined with the developers of Dynasty Warriors, Persona 5 Strikers, was actually very fun. Very fun, because it introduced enough elements from Persona to spice up the Dynasty Warriors formula, and it didn't treat them all like the same territory control mission that every single Dynasty Warriors and Hyrule Warriors mission is. Thank you for the hydrate, Bell. How are you doing this evening? I hope that check as well. How about this? Had some health problems. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. And I hope that you can at least get a little bit of relaxation to mollify the bad times. But I'm intimately familiar with health problems. So, if you ever want to talk about it, my DMs are open, but if you would rather not, that's fine also. Now, let's see if we can get some neck crack ASMR for the posture check. Oh, I bet you heard that. At least I hope so. I'll have to check the VOD. Oh, yes, that crack. Perfect. Yes, I like cracking my neck, and ASMR has me shrimp very badly to be able to get both sides of the microphone. And so, the posture and hydrate routines are much appreciated. Okay, Space Invaders is fine. Old classic. Not that special. Monster Hunter is also fine. A controversial take in some circles of the internet. But I think that it's a little bit too tedious, and its physics and hitboxes and grinding nature make it hard to rate as incredible. Well, thank you so much for stopping in, Belle, and I hope that you have a restful evening. And like I said, DMs are always open if you need to talk about anything. Have a good evening. Never heard of metaphor? What the fuck is that? Command and Conquer. Ooh. Hate to say it, but it's kind of mid. It has a special place in my heart. And I remember all sorts of things from it, but it's just so-so. Rage I never played. This might shock some of you who know how much of a gamer I am, but I never got around to playing Undertale. I don't really know why. I just didn't. Strider, never played. Soul Calibur is good, but not incredible. It's just a good fighting game. The end is in sight. Now Drakengard. Never played, and it's old enough that I probably won't. But I know that people really liked it at the time. Ratchet and Clank is good, embrace the goofiness and has consistently been excellent. As a side note, I've ordered a microphone cover which should allow me to do brushing. I think part of the problem before is that I don't have a microphone cover, so directly brushing the mic itself does not truly elicit the right sounds. Oh, pardon me. Now, Armored Core is a game that I love the history of and suspect that when we get our new entry, it will be incredible, but rating on what's come out so far, I don't think I can put it higher than that. We're burning through a lot of these ones with ones I haven't ever played. Alright. Kirby. It's kind of hard to put Kirby in any one spot because there's been so much variety. But as a series of nearly 30 years, it's consistently been fun and cute and modestly innovative. So I'm going to put it in very good because you can kind of always count on a Kirby game to be fun at the very least. Shovel Knight is good. There's certainly better, but there's a lot worse. Never played several of these. Oddworld is mid. It had a cult following, and long ago on the PlayStation, 1 or 2 felt unique, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just okay. Now, here's another one that may surprise you. I've never actually played Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross. I know. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Considering how much I love RPGs. But I do plan to play it someday. Now, Gundam versus. I don't know which Gundam game this is, so I'll call it mid because there were some fighting games that were pretty fun. But shrug. Another fucking DBZ. Listen up, you motherfuckers. These are game series. Nearly every single series in here has many, 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 many entries with different sub-names. You can't put DBZ the Fighting series in here 10 times just because they've changed the name somewhat. I'm sorry, I don't care. It doesn't work that way. Now, Overwatch. I'm gonna skip that for a minute. I haven't played these at all. Surprisingly, perhaps. Wow, these are going quickly then. Okay. No. Pictures Anthology. I don't know what that is. Okay, now we're down to our last games that we have played. Divinity Original Sin gets into, I want to say, good. It has some problems, but as a turn-based RPG that's come out in the last 10 years, well, there were older ones too, but the original Sin series was within the last 10 years, is quite good. But it does tend to fall off after the first act. Dark Pictures are The Man of Medan, Little Hope, Devil in Me, well, Luna. I've never played any of those, so perhaps I'll put it in plans to play then, because I have heard of them. Spoopy, yes, indeed. Risk of Rain, I haven't played, but I am going to be collabing with Velveta Loon on Friday for charity, and I'm very excited for it, and we plan to play some games together in the future, and she loves Risk of Rain too, and apparently so does Luna Valkyria, and I would love to play it with you, either on or off stream sometime. I don't know how you feel about collabs, Luna, and that's fine either way. We can talk in private, but I would love to play with you at some point, one way or another. Borderlands is, I hate to say, mid. As a concept, it's very interesting, but it's plagued by an aesthetic that is overly dull and drab and brown, and is a massive looter shooter, which I just can't play anymore. I'm too goddamn old to play those types of games. Saints Row overall is mid. It's fun, it's dumb, it's had some hits, and it's had some misses. It's fine. It's not incredible, but it's fine. Time Splitters, I feel about the same. It's an old game series that hasn't really had anything new in decades at this point, so it's hard to put it in high ranking anymore, but it was pretty cool back in the day, long ago. Warhammer 40k, honestly, it's an interesting universe, and as a tabletop game, I actually hate it. I've played it, and it was terribly balanced and very hand-wavy with rules, and if you ever played competitively, it was full of degenerate rules interpretations, and as a video game entry, they've all just been sort of middle-tier developers, so they're fine, but nothing incredible. And XCOM is hard to say. I think good, That's pretty good. Okay, Darkest Dungeon is also, in my opinion, mid. If we were going on art style alone and mood, then it would be good or very good. But gameplay wise, I found it to be tedious and irritating, and I just couldn't get into it after dozens of hours. So it caps out at mid, as usual, in this list. Okay, now Overwatch. A semi-mainstay of this channel. A game that I was hyped about ever since it was announced. A spiritual successor to Team Fortress 2, one of my old favorite games of all time. And for years, I loved it, and I still play it quite often. But it has been so mismanaged over the past 5 years, and I have very little hope for it in the long run, so it's very difficult for me to rate. And it has some very frustrating elements, and yet at the same time, nothing quite scratches that itch for me like it does. So I think it has to go in good, but I don't think I can put it in good conscience in very good, which is a little bit sad. But that's our entire tier list, and this took 2.5 hours. I was definitely planning to have more than one tier list. Maybe I'll do a quick one or two after this, but this took a lot longer than I was planning. Well, that's okay. Here's your final look if you want to agree with or roast any of my takes. Overall, in our masterpiece, we have Mass Effect, Minecraft, Super Mario, Dark Souls, Final Fantasy, Portal, Super Smash Brothers, The Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War, and Tetris. And in very good, we have Street Fighter, Red Dead, Doom, Guilty Gear, Persona, The Legend of Zelda, Titanfall, Dishonored, BlazBlue, Tekken, Rock Band, Ratchet and Clank, and Kirby. In good, we have Overwatch, Halo, Grand Theft Auto, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Devil May Cry, Metroid, Team Fortress, Half-Life, Pokemon, Mega Man, Civilization, BioShock, Guitar Hero, Dark Stalkers, Ayo, StarCraft, Rainbow Six, Donkey Kong, Burnout, Shantae, Pac-Man, Jet Set Radio, Fear, First Encounter Assault Recon, Dead Space, Worms, Horizon Zero Dawn, Prince of Persia, Tomb Raider, Diablo, Fable, Soul Calibur, Shovel Knight, Divinity Original Sin, and XCOM. Then in mid, a big category, probably the biggest, which is, well, aside from haven't played, we have Resident Evil, King of Fighters, Bayonetta, Lego, Quake, Counter-Strike, Sonic, Company of Heroes, Metal Slug, SimCity, Age of Empires, Need for Speed, Batman, Gran Turismo, Spyro, Warcraft, Unreal Tournament, Gears of War, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Bravely Default, Left 4 Dead, Banjo-Kazooie, Star Wars Battlefront, Fire Emblem, Dragon Ball Z, all of them. I just grouped them all in there, as well as the Naruto fighting games, Star Fox, F-Zero, Bomberman, Perfect Dark, Splatoon, Crysis, Neo, The Witcher, a controversial pick, as well as Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate, Day of Defeat, Disgaea, Tales of Series, Luna Valkyria Chronicles, Chivalry, Space Invaders, Monster Hunter, Command and Conquer, Armored Core, Odd World, lumped together all of the Gundam games, Borderlands, Saints Row, Time Splitters, Warhammer, all combined, and Darkest Dungeon. Then in bad, the two hottest takes of all. Scrolls and Fallout and Ico/Shadow of the Colossus / The Last Guardian, which are all artsy but ultimately bad games. Contra, Crash Bandicoot, Streets of Rage, Ghosts and Goblins, franchises as a whole. And I'm talking in a view of a combination of how influential they were at the time, but also how relevant they've continued to be, and or how well they have held up to scrutiny if they are only old games, which I understand is difficult to combine, but Contra, for example, at the time was perhaps well viewed, but looking back, I just don't think it's that good of a game, and there's no newer entries to balance it out. Similarly, well, anyway, it's a little complicated, but franchises, yes, as a whole. Crash Bandicoot, Streets of Rage, Ghosts and Goblins. Again, a classic. So many of these classic arcade-style games were a big deal at the time, but have not continued to evolve, and playing them nowadays is just pure pain. So that's how I rated them. I try to not let nostalgia be an influence unless they've continued to be good games since then. Virtua Fighter, Excitebike, Monster Rancher, Super Monkey Ball, Shenmue, Dead Rising, and Dynasty Warriors. Now, well, it's all relative, isn't it? Are they actually good now? Or were they good 30 years ago when they first came out? Because, to a certain extent, most games, at the very release, are at least good. But if we're talking at a franchise level, I have to evaluate it from modern sensibility, at least somewhat. But it is difficult. It was hard for me to put anything down here, considering that there's only 14. There's only 17 in bad and horrible. When there's this many above it, you're gonna save you Contra. Well, listen. I think it's funny that you're, that you're outraged about Contra, but Elder Scrolls and Fallout, which I would say most people would call good games, is not causing you to be upset that they're in bad. I just don't think they're good games. Their stories or worlds can be interesting, but as a game, I don't think they're actually that good. Now, horrible was a bit of a weird category. I think Duke Nukem is the only franchise I would truly classify as is as well, but less directly than these two. So I gave them a bit of a down rating. Yes, well, certainly the last Fallout. And honestly, I didn't particularly care for Fallout 3. And I never played New Vegas, so hard to say. And in trash, I wanted to make the note that trash is not necessarily worse than horrible on this list. It's kind of a side category that you can enjoy trash. But some aspect of it, in most of the cases here, the monetization is trash. So, I could be wrong on a couple of these, but I pretty much don't think that sports games are I think they're very exploitative, and I hate the way that they're monetized, so that's how it be. And then we get down to never played but plan to. We have Forza, Shin Megami Tensei, I don't remember, Dragon Quest, Yakuza, Ace Attorney, Metal Gear, KOTOR, which again I think still surprises most people, Atelier, Prey, Binding of Isaac, Nier, Undertale, Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, The Dark Picture Anthology, and Risk of Rain. And then there's all of these that I haven't played and either am not interested or simply acknowledge that I don't have time to play everything on this list and just likely won't ever get around to it. So, we have quite a long list here as well, but I think we did okay considering how many franchises were here. Alright, let's save this. Perfect. Alright, and I think with that, my throat is starting to get a little bit sore. So I think I'll just get ready to raid out. I only ended up getting through one list because it was so long, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me and discussing my tasted games, and I hope that you had a relaxing time staying here. I'm going to check who's on right now. Oh, yikes. Yikes. It's a good thing I'm not screen sharing because that had my real name. Okay, we're gonna raid over to AJ, who is doing some Elden Ring. A little bit different of a vibe, but I hope you all had a good evening and it lessened the sting of Monday. I'll be back on Wednesday. You're bleeding through your eyes right now. rigor as I do for our future live 2D models. She is a dear and a sweetie, and it should be a fun stream. And on Friday, I will be on Velveta Loon's stream for a charity event. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a good night's rest, those of you who are going to sleep. Oh, thank you so much, Trentus Broccoli, for joining the database as my newest kilobyte. I hope that you're enjoying the ASMR. It's something I plan to expand upon and practice as I get more experience and tools, and especially when I get my new model, so that I can show you what I look like actually moving around for this stuff. But until then, take care, everyone. But we're not rating a ASMR channel, so keep that in mind for your ears. Good night, everyone, or good day if it's daytime.